Every time I revisit the Kung Fu Panda movies, I'm struck by just how profound the underlying themes and messages truly are. It's as if, with every rewatch, a new piece of wisdom reveals itself, helping me make sense of certain aspects or struggles in my own life. I firmly believe I'm not alone in this realization. I've come across a substantial number of reviews and video essays on YouTube that explore the deeper meanings within these films, proving that they contain a richness that longs to be uncovered, one that has resonated with people on many different levels. Like many animated films, the movie begins with the protagonist, Po, dreaming of a greater, more fulfilling life, hoping to escape the mundane existence he's found himself in. Unlike his adoptive father, who hopes Po will take over the family noodle shop, Po dreams of becoming a fierce kung fu warrior, or, at the very least, meeting his idols, the Furious Five.
But Dad, didn't you ever, I don't know, want to do something else? Something besides noodles?
Today is his lucky day, as he is miraculously chosen by Master Oogway to become the Dragon Warrior, the hero deemed worthy of being entrusted with the Dragon Scroll, which holds the secret to limitless power. Oogway has foreseen the escape of the feared Tai Lung and believes only the Dragon Warrior can stop him. Shifu, the Furious Five's master and Oogway's student, is furious. Lacking his master's wisdom and serenity, he is blind to the deeper spiritual truths that Oogway tries to convey in his own unique way.
Your mind is like this water, my friend. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see.
When things don't go as planned, Shifu anxiously scrambles for a solution, while Oogway, in contrast, accepts what life presents, trusting that things will unfold as they should, or at the very least, in a much better way than if he were to worry like Shifu. When we allow worry to consume us, our minds become clouded, preventing us from seeing reality as it truly is.
Thing fell in front of her. That was just an accident.
There are no accidents.
Determined to rid himself of the fat panda as soon as possible, Shifu subjects Po to rigorous training. Po, in turn, is completely humiliated by Shifu and the Furious Five on his first day at the Jade Palace.
And if you have any respect for who we are and what we do, you will be gone by morning.
Be careful what you wish for, as the saying goes. How often do we pray or wish for a dream to come true, convinced that once we obtain it, we will finally feel complete and find lasting happiness? Yet once our wish is fulfilled, or once we come to our senses, we realize how naive we were to believe that all our problems would vanish the moment we reached our goal. We are often blind to the burdens and responsibilities that come with achieving our desires. Nothing worthwhile comes easily, and Po learns this lesson the hard way. He falls into despair, a state that often marks the beginning of a transformative journey, and in turn the antidote to a life of constant fantasizing, of living in dreams rather than reality. Oogway catches Po devouring sacred peaches after his disastrous first day at the palace. This short scene masterfully captures the film's tone with its seamless blend of humor and profound wisdom. Po, visibly upset, resorts to eating as a means of avoiding his unpleasant emotions, something many of us can relate to. If not through food, we might seek temporary relief in mindless scrolling on our phones, alcohol, cigarettes, overworking, or any other vice that distracts us from confronting the uneasiness within. However, unresolved pain does not simply disappear. Rather, it gets suppressed, waiting for another time to resurface.
You eat when you are upset.
Upset? I'm not upset. What makes you think I'm upset?
Oogway notices Po's distress. He calls Po out for what he's doing, but refrains from judging him. Instead, he gently encourages Po to bring to light what is truly bothering him, an essential first step in the healing process. There is no point in denying or suppressing emotions, especially from oneself.
So why are you upset?
I probably sucked more today than anyone in the history of Kung Fu, in the history of China, in the history of sucking.
Probably.
And the Five, man, you should have seen them. They totally hate me.
Totally.
Po recounts all the terrible things that happened to him, his extreme embarrassment and the painful opinions of others, eventually concluding that he might be better off returning home to make noodles, abandoning the dream he has always clung to.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles.
I, for one, have found myself in this very state many times. When embarking on something new, whether a job, business, project, relationship, or any major life change. We often second-guess ourselves, wondering if we made the right decision. The temptation to retreat to our comfort zone can be overwhelming. Oogway, in his characteristic wisdom, helps Po realize how irrational and silly his overthinking is. He reminds Po that dwelling on the past or worrying about the future serves no purpose. He then delivers his iconic line, refocusing Po's attention on the present.
Quit, don't quit. Noodles, don't noodles. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
Tai Lung escapes from prison, just as Oogway had foreseen. In desperation, Shifu seeks Oogway's guidance on the matter. Unfortunately for his anxious and controlling mind, Shifu receives the answer he most dreads. He must place his trust in the Dragon Warrior. In other words, an untrained, overweight panda is destined to save them from the most feared warrior in all of China. Like Po, Shifu struggles with excessive worry about the future. His way of coping is by attempting to control it. However, as Oogway points out, this is merely an illusion.
The panda will never fulfill his destiny, nor you yours, until you let go of the illusion of control.
While we can influence the future through sacrifice and action in the present moment, much of what unfolds is beyond our control, requiring us to trust in the natural flow of providence.
Look at this tree, Shifu. I cannot make it blossom when it suits me, nor make it bear fruit before its time.
Shifu remains fixated on his rigid expectations of what the Dragon Warrior must be. He is convinced that Po must be trained to fit these predetermined standards, but this is simply impossible.
And I can control where to plant the seed. Hiya! That is no illusion, Master.
Oogway encourages him to let go of his preconceived notions and recognize that Po can fulfill his destiny in a way entirely different from what he imagined.
No matter what you do, that seed will grow to be a peach tree. You may wish for an apple or an orange, but you will get a peach.
Similarly, in our own lives, we often create elaborate plans and rigid ideas about how to solve our problems, believing them to be the only solutions. When these plans unravel and the situation appears hopeless, we are forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. We have far less control over the future than we like to believe. Shifu reveals the news of Tai Lung's escape to Po in the Five. Po panics and tries to flee, but Shifu stops him in his tracks. He reiterates some of the wisdom he recently received from Oogway, but Po remains unconvinced.
You are the Dragon Warrior.
Ow! You don't believe that! Oh! You never believed that!
Po does not hold back and openly confesses how much he despises every fiber of his being, expressing his desperate hope that Shifu could somehow transform him into someone less repulsive in his own eyes. However, Po has yet to realize that this perspective is fundamentally flawed, something he will soon come to understand.
It never hurt more than it did every day of my life just being me. I stayed because I thought if anyone could change me, could make me not me, it was you.
Despite his misguided thinking, acknowledging his deep-seated self-hatred is an essential step toward healing. It marks the beginning of his journey toward self-acceptance, where he will ultimately learn to embrace who he truly is. The Furious Five secretly leave the palace to confront Tai Lung. Meanwhile, Po, once again feeling dejected, turns to food as a coping mechanism. Interestingly, he proves to be quite creative and resourceful when it comes to finding food. This sparks an idea in Shifu to train Po by utilizing his unique skills. Shifu's unconventional approach proves successful, demonstrating in an amusing way that everyone has their own set of distinct talents and weaknesses. Our goal should not be to suppress these talents out of fear or a desire to conform, but rather to embrace and develop them. Unfortunately, many institutions, particularly schools, stifle individuality, forcing people to fit rigid expectations instead of fostering their unique abilities. With Shifu's guidance, Po discovers his hidden strengths, and in the process, forms a meaningful bond with his master. However, the moment of triumph is short-lived. The five return, battered and barely surviving their battle with Tai Lung. Po is reminded of his destiny of stopping Tai Lung and saving the valley, but he is still uncertain if he is truly ready. Fortunately, Po has yet to open the Dragon Scroll, which is said to hold the secret to limitless power. It's what's inside the scroll that in my mind makes this a truly special movie. The scroll is empty. No ancient text, no profound wisdom, no esoteric doctrine, no magical solution to life's problems. Only the reflection of the one who holds it. This single image speaks louder than any words could. However, the meaning behind the scroll is not immediately apparent. Po, like everyone else, expected a concrete answer, a tangible key to defeating Tai Lung. Unfortunately for them, the deepest truths about ourselves and reality cannot be grasped instantly. They reveal themselves in their own time and to those who are truly ready. More often than not, they favor the humble.
I've done awesome!
The mark of a true hero is humility.
Shifu puts it upon himself to stay behind and slow down Tai Lung, as he believes himself responsible for making him into a proud, power-hungry beast. Shifu instilled in Tai Lung the idea that his worth was tied to his strength and mastery of Kung Fu, constantly pushing him to be better. Tai Lung, in turn, became obsessed with proving himself and obtaining the Dragon Scroll. But Oogway saw what truly lay in Tai Lung's heart and denied him the scroll, despite his exceptional skill.
Not your fault. Who filled my head with dreams? Who drove me to train until my bones cracked? Who denied me my destiny?
The truth is, deep down, Tai Lung wants Shifu's acceptance more than anything, believing that if he were to be worthy of the Dragon Scroll, Shifu would finally be proud of him. However, this truth remains buried beneath layers of unacknowledged pain, fueling his wrath and lust for power.
What I ever did, I did to make you proud. Tell me how proud you are, Shifu.
Shifu loved Tai Lung more than anyone, but wasn't able to convey it properly due to his own inner troubles. This dynamic serves as an excellent analogy for many parent-child relationships, illustrating how unresolved trauma can be passed down through generations. Nonetheless, Shifu has grown since, with the help of Oogway's wisdom, Po's lightheartedness, and his own willingness to sacrifice his control, ego, and life ultimately. He attempts to apologize to Tai Lung, and for a moment, it almost reaches him. But Tai Lung's bitterness has festered for too long. Fortunately, Po arrives just in time, having experienced his own emotional roller coaster, leading to a radical acceptance of himself as he is, or true humility, the complete opposite of Tai Lung's pride. This contrast highlights a fundamental duality of human nature, with each character embodying opposing extremes. While Tai Lung relentlessly seeks the Dragon Scroll for the power he believes it holds, Po never placed much importance on it. He never believed himself worthy of such a thing. It's precisely this humility that makes him deserving of it. Speaking of the Dragon Scroll, we have yet to explore the true meaning behind its mystery. And mystery is the key word, because the most significant truths are often the most elusive. They are not visible to everyone, only to those who are truly ready to receive them.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't get it the first time either.
Po is dejected as he leaves the valley with the other villagers. At home, his father welcomes him and quickly reinstates him into the family business. All his dreams vanished as quickly as they had come. Once again, he finds himself condemned to his old, mundane, and uninspiring life. Yet this time, Po cannot accept his father's stubborn plans so easily. Having tasted what it means to truly live, there is simply no going back. In his despair, Po begins questioning everything, as one often does when faced with what seems like an insurmountable situation. Yet, answers to our struggles often arrive in the most unexpected ways, pulling us out of our misery when we least expect them. Po's unexpected answer comes from his father, who, while trying to console him by revealing the long-guarded secret ingredient of his soup, unknowingly unveils the secret of the Dragon Scroll.
Ingredient is nothing.
Wait. It's just plain old noodle soup? You don't add some kind of special sauce or something?
Don't have to. To make something special, you just have to believe it's special.
Po finally realizes that true, authentic freedom, joy, and strength cannot be found anywhere but within. A radical acceptance of himself, with all his flaws and weaknesses, even those he dislikes so much, is necessary. No amount of kung fu mastery, fame, or wisdom can change who he is on the inside. The truth is that, as sentimental as it may sound, we are far more special, important, and worthy than we can ever imagine. The problem is that we often lose sight of who we truly are underneath, caught up in endless self-improvement in an attempt to avoid facing ourselves as we are, limited yet stronger and more capable than we realize. Society and those who care for us, though often well-intentioned, distort our understanding of what truly matters, imposing impossible standards upon us. However, this does not mean we are perfect, just as we are, nor that change is unnecessary. Rather, we must first accept the truth about ourselves before we can begin to grow and heal what is broken. Otherwise, we live in denial, constantly covering up the parts of ourselves we refuse to accept. The reality is that true self-acceptance and belief in oneself are vital steps in the journey of self-discovery, steps that many people never fully achieve.
One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
Po's revelation grants him the confidence and courage to return and face Tai Lung. Tai Lung, amused at the sight of a fat panda as the dragon warrior, quickly realizes that Po is no easy opponent. It's important to view this battle through a symbolic lens. The conflict between pride and humility, the lust for power versus self-acceptance. This tension reaches its peak when Tai Lung finally gets his hands on the dragon scroll. However, he cannot accept Po's insight, blinded by his rage and insatiable desires.
There is no secret ingredient. It's just you.
In the end, Po defeats Tai Lung in a playful and lighthearted manner, reminding us that life should not always be taken so seriously. Sometimes, what we fear or build up in our minds as overwhelming is far less threatening than it appears. A little self-compassion can go a long way. Oh, and remember, be careful what you wish for. It might just come true.